Okay, good afternoon, folks, and welcome to Smudcast number... Oh, my screen just went wacky. Welcome.
758.
758, there we go. EFAP is anti-art. That's a weird one. This is from Organized Chaos. We might have covered this fellow before in the past. I don't recall. It's one of the two. He has a friend that sounds just like him, and they're both nauseating. So we weren't going to do this one because we just don't like Organized Chaos. His videos we skip, and we just forget about they ever existed, as I can't recall exactly what we covered from him before. But
is this the guy I wanted as a replacement for Renegade Cut?
Oh, possibly. Yeah.
Organized Chaos got that annoying Invader Zim voice.
Ah.
Well, without the voice changer?
Oh, God.
Just naturally.
that would be an improvement. Anyway, okay, this video is almost 25 minutes long. There's no way we're covering the entire thing. We might get to 10 minutes because this is how bad it's going to be. It's about EFAP. I don't know how you associate a art or criticism podcast being anti-art. My brain went to my wonderful teaching in high school of arts, and I don't know if you guys are aware of Dadaism, but that was technically the anti-art movement after World War I, or an expression of World War I and what happened to Germany and all the bizarre art. They created, like the famous urinal picture and the wheel and the faces, all this abstract pre-postmodernism that you would call.
I must autistically correct you, as I was corrected autistically by artists from the Art University.
Okay.
It is not called Dadaism. They insist it is just called Dada.
What?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, if you want to be pedantic about it, I don't really care. But
I don't care either. But it's but I was told as like, okay.
Yeah, this is. I mean, you're talking about
you're
talking about Salvador Dali doing this for 5 years. Picasso tried to do it, I think. Like, this is all in response to they hated what happened in World War I. I believe even Picasso did Guernica, which is in response to World War II. But the idea was it's anti-art. It's not real art. It's something in response to something else. So I do not believe a critic or a group of critics are anti-art because they are criticizing the thing they are either observing. Whether they like it or not is irrelevant. You cannot be against the thing you're criticizing because that would be impossible. It would be like, I'm criticizing myself. I mean, I don't know. How would that even work? That would not be very effective. I need someone to help me criticize myself and be against the poor versions of myself, and then I would reflect on that to make myself better. I don't know how this analogy is going, but no.
In the case of your examples, Salvador Dali and Pablo Picasso, they had technique down. They were themselves actual artists.
Sure.
So there's a big difference to the postmodernists we have today is that the old masters, they knew what they were doing and they could produce something of worth, even when they made try to make a mockery of art in some fashion or some other iteration of it. While the postmodernists today who glue a banana to the wall, or that's the tip of the iceberg. I have been to art galleries where they've put out stuff that you will not even want to expend the energy to shake your head.
Okay. All right.
There's a DC Comics supervillain group called the Brotherhood of Dada.
Oh. Fun.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, that's great. Good for them. I would never want to know what it's about. Anyway, so we're all good to go. Actually, no, we're not all good to go. Who's not in the Watch Together yet? There's a link at the top of the video.
Yeah, there's only 3 people.
Yeah, there's only 3 of us. What happened?
Ich bin bereit.
So there's a link at the top. Go ahead, Mr. Fourth Unknown Person. Oh, we got
I think it's Warren Rabbit.
All right, we got a donation while we're waiting for our 4th member to pop in there. Here's gay actor Michael Douglas. Thank you, sir, for the donation. EFAP is anti-art in the same way organized chaos is anti-healthy diet, anti-exercise, and anti-getting bitches. This man calls people racist when he and his friends call a black man an Uncle Tom and a chunky monkey. Oh, this was the guy.
Yes.
Oh.
Called Eric July a chunky monkey.
This was the idiot who talked to Eric July and got his ass handed to him within 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, Damn, I have forgotten about all that fun.
Yeah. Ooh. That is sad. I remember seeing that video where he literally forgot what he said 10 seconds ago. And Eric July was like, wait a second, did you just contradict yourself? It was the funniest thing. These guys cannot see past their own nose. It's hilarious. Anyway, so I'm in the watch together. Whisp is in the watch together. I'm assuming because Whisp knows what they're doing. And
hello.
I am not sure. I think I am in the watch together, but
hit F5 and see what happens.
Well, it shows my thing, Smudboy, and then some username, and that is all I can see. So I don't know what is happening.
Autumn, are you in the watch together?
We got him.
There, I found.
Yes.
Got him. It was me. All right.
Oh,
beautiful.
All right. All of us are together. Let's get going.
Also, Smud, I just noticed, hang on, Smud, I'm going to pause it. I just noticed on the thumbnail, it's Mauler, Nerderotic, and Drinker, and only a third of the thumbnail is correct, because Nerderotic and Drinker aren't the co-hosts of EFAP. Rags and Fringy are, so already he's somewhat wrong.
Maybe he's trying to say those other two are also in the same boat as EFAP?
I mean, yeah, they're in the same boat, and they've appeared on EFAP, but either way, I don't know. I'm probably just nitpicking, but either way, let's continue.
Okay.
And yeah, let's see what the fuck EFAP even has to say about this, because this is just base takes.
That's the Zim voice lookalike, sound alike.
Yeah.
We get it. That's your title.
There is a funny thing about the Zim voice recording times, by the way. They pitched up the voices that they recorded for the cartoon in post, but the voice actors who loved the show so much then started to adapt to the final voices, what they sounded like, and got higher pitched across the show until they sounded like the high-pitched stuff. And that was still high-pitched, and then I pitched it down again.
Cool.
Rota, you wanted to say something?
No, I just said what you said. They pitched the voices up themselves, you know.
Yeah, well, it's funny.
All right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Guys, I need you to do me a favor. Help me fight the algorithm. Go ahead and hit like, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell icon for new notifications. Thank you. Alright, we obviously aren't going to watch this whole thing, but we can get, like, an intro. And EFAP number 274, The Assassination of Chris Stuckmann by the Coward Chris Stuckmann. Now, EFAP fans like to make a big fucking deal about being good faith. Like, I'm like the worst person ever, apparently, because I'm bad faith. Now, when you look at a stream called The Assassination of Chris Stuckmann by the Coward Chris Stuckmann, does that indicate to you that they're going into this with good faith or bad faith?
First off, that's a title characterizing what Chris Stuckmann did to himself. And if you don't think he did that to himself, I don't know what video you were watching, sir. It seemed pretty obvious he was pussyfooting around what was happening. Was it Madam Web and the director and why it sucked? And it wasn't the director's fault. It was the Disney's fault. It's like, no. The director knew exactly what they were doing. They had full creative control. So
that nonsense we covered too.
Yeah, we covered that Stuckmann video as well.
We covered that video.
His whole the poor women who made the movie are not responsible for the movie being bad.
Yeah,
it was the system.
Yeah,
it's the system.
not the creative people behind it who had full creative control, and they said they had full creative control, and they put the giant Pepsi at whatever at the end bullshit. It's like no, they totally wanted that. So No.
Yeah. Even that, and even if most of the blame can be laid at the freaking creators, I have never heard that if there was any creative executive meddling. I have never heard that. So this was 100% on them. Not 90, not 80, 100. Anyways, moving on.
And I'll be blunt, I'm going into this with bad faith, because these guys are assholes. So, let's see.
So you just espoused the virtues of good faith, and now you're saying, to hell with that. Okay. I mean, if you want to make all these problems with your argument before you start, you can do so, but we're not going to put you in any high regard or take you seriously.
Let's be prejudiced. And the thing is, we've had our encounter with the disingenuous side of EFAP. However, that doesn't mean they can't be right on something.
Well, again, they cover things from a critical lens, which is more than what this guy's doing. So even if both parties disingenuous, what is the argument saying? Can we listen to the argument objectively and say, okay, maybe there's something going on here aside from a creative director just being controlled by Disney or the Marvel execs. It's like, no, every piece of evidence we've got showcases that she had full control. So
yeah, I think that what Organized Chaos here does wrong is just starting the whole thing with, I don't care, these guys are assholes. So he is, even before starting the video, he's lowering any weight that his words, his critique might bring.
Right.
It's just a stupid thing.
That's a very good point.
He's already going in with like a very closed mind. So even if they might bring up a point that could sway him, he's not going to be swayed because he's not going to let them.
Yeah, with us, even when we know Maggie May or Renegade Cut or all these other weirdos are weird and say silly things, we go, let's just hold off on the criticisms before we hear what they have to say. But immediately they start building themselves up as this virtue of ethics and morals and I care and no one else does. And woe is me. Like, geez, you had like 3-4 poor me dramas and then you put the makeup on and now you're acting like a cat. And, oh, please like me. It's this bizarre hurricane of emotion that is like, okay, how are we going to take Maggie May seriously anymore? How are we going to take Renegade Cut clearly anymore?
Yeah, and at least with Renegade Cut and Maggie May, at least we can laugh at their bad takes. These guys, I don't even think we can do that.
The diamond ornaments on his wall are giving me a headache.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they're not even symmetrical in any way.
Would you want a optical illusion or any kind of weird pattern like that on your wall? I'm not sure.
No, it's the same reason why on camera you do not wear small patterned shirts or something.
Yeah, well, I don't want to trick my eyes in any kind of painful experiences just by looking at a wall, but that's...
It does distract from the room he should clean.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, I just...
Even the drawer is half open.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, I'm sure he cleans his glasses and he's very congenial and cleanliness guy. He's just
probably not as you should. He's probably just scratching them.
Clean his bed. What makes you think he cleans his glasses?
Anyway, let's just keep going.
Yeah.
Continue.
The eyes. We of course got Fringy, Homelander face apparently. Mahler, Nerdrotic, Rags.
Yeah.
The one funny person on there.
Christopher Stuckmann. So we meet again.
Imagine his name was
our fates are intertwined.
Stuckmann. Like his middle name was, Steven, and then his name was Tuckman, and he was like, "What if I took the S and put it onto the Tuckman, and it becomes Stuckman?" What does Stuckman make you think of? That he's stuck?
Yeah,
he's kind of stuck.
I don't know that it makes me think of anything, honestly.
There's got to be something thematically valuable about his name. Chris is a very uncommon name, and it makes you think of all kinds of things, right? Who's called Chris?
There was a comment
Nobody.
on the that montage I made of his thumbnail faces. Someone said his face is stuck, man, and I wish I had thought of that.
Oh.
Okay.
Definitely stuck.
Why did you put a copyright song on that video, you fool? People can't watch it on video randomly on streams.
It was the perfect song.
This intro is why they do like 12-hour stream. Like, what is even this? I want to see how they're going to introduce us to the video, because that tells us a lot about like what they're doing. But
it's chill background noise conversation.
It's called having friends over and they talk about whatever pops in their mind. It's
To be fair, that is a problem I have with the EFAP. They just have way too many tangential conversations that just bloat the runtime. That's kind of why I drifted away from them.
In the first 100 episodes, the tangents were fine. It's only when they started to talk for 5 hours, when 3 or 4 guys talk for 5 hours about how to dig a Vaporeon. That's when I checked out.
Yeah.
But you know what? I appreciate that. You're not a producer or anything, are you? You're more of a creative.
Yeah. I'm not one of those suits.
Gross.
Trying to tell artists what to do.
Ever?
Yeah, have you want to see it?
No, because that would mean I'm not creative.
Is the guy frozen?
Well, we should probably just go ahead and start getting into this wacky bonus EFAP, because already people were like, what is happening here? And it's like, yeah, bet you didn't expect to see EFAP on a Wednesday. That's where we are, right?
It's hump day.
It's going to be crazy, man. Wednesday EFAPs, you never know what's going to happen if ever they pop up. It probably means that something happened, something weird and wacky, and that we wanted to cover it. And you know what? That kind of
take out the fucking teabag, you uncultured schmuck.
Something wild and wacky with a guest set that will change probably as we talk about it. But if you're in the world of film, you likely would have heard about something that happened recently, a rumbling, and that rumbling comes in the form of Jay Longbone upsetting everybody. What's wrong with you?
Oh, Jay, I can't believe you've done this. I can't believe you've done this.
There's opinions you're allowed to have, and then there's what you say, and that's just too much. And when I saw, God, he's so annoying on Twitter, I was like, someone needs to send him messages that involve threatening her life, like that needs to happen. What's funny is that'll be in here as well, and that'll just go to show anybody who's curious, like, yeah, we get death threats a lot from saying people are annoying. It happens. That's the internet.
Yeah.
It's just other people can sort of use that to their advantage. Do you remember when fucking Patrick Willems tweeted out someone talking about wanting to kill him, I think, and they ended it with, they were from the Mauler Army? What the fuck?
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that was almost certain.
Is that like Dumbledore's army?
I was just like,
wow, you guys have a toxic fan base, and you shouldn't send death threats to these guys, but yeah.
Oh, that's just lovely.
What did you just? Did he just passive aggressively call for death threats to EFAP?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
And people say we're the violent ones.
That's always projection. Always.
I mean, there will always be crazy people in every fan base. There is no way around that. But to just go around and imply stuff in this way, that is just plain stupidity.
Yeah, Mom.
Dude.
No.
Anyway, yeah.
Dude.
Death threat's bad. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Told you guys the Mauler Army. Like, what the hell?
Mauler Army, assemble.
I thought they were going to get to the video.
Yeah, that was one of those ones where it's
in
like,
3
hello,
minutes?
fellow Mauler Armites. Here I am.
You do know better.
Fight the war. Yeah, that's what we do. Oh, Mauler Army rise up indeed. But yeah, what we're doing here today is we're checking out the origin of this gigantic war and all the players involved, all the opinions you could possibly have, while sharing some of our own. You'd never guess. It starts with a Chris Stuckmann video. Isn't that fucking crazy?
No, nothing's crazy. This is all just so.
Yeah. Oh, all right, jeez. I was going to say, like, I feel like it's a bit of a crazy thing to have happen because just nothing usually comes of what he says.
Probably one of the most boring things we've ever covered.
Yeah, nothing's happening.
The videos are so dull that there's nothing to fight about.
I don't even see.
He has no thoughts either.
Ever. Like, not in the sense of, oh, you got to check out the new song video, but just in the sense of, oh yeah, Chris like highlighted this about this.
Sitting there.
Ooh, are there chapters?
This is just non-content.
You just watch. We're watching a guy watch
16?
a bunch of other people.
We're watching a guy watching
we'll
the other guys.
Statement, I guess.
Based off of what I've heard, since I do try to keep it mostly about film celebration on this channel. Having seen...
what does that mean?
What a statement.
Wait.
I'm going to celebrate.
Did you know that you could say a lot of things by the things you do not say? It is a very interesting quirk of the human condition
What?
that I've discovered
Do you love
in
that,
my years on this planet.
That is absolutely the thing we need to set as the foundation for this whole stream is how much can be said by not saying certain things.
Wait,
just,
what?
I've been trying to keep the vibe at the Stuckmann household positive
Is Rags trying to give, because he didn't say certain things, he's saying a lot more than what he does say? Is that his argument?
Let me look up what he said here.
I think the idea here is just that when you skirt around some topics, you kind of show your hand that way, but I'm not sure if it's the best way that he put it.
Yeah, I think Stuckmann is pretty honest with what he's saying, and we know where he's coming from. And yeah, we would have liked to have said, yeah, this was a bad film, the director sucked, the story sucked. Whether it was interference or not, I don't know. But he instead thought, no, I like the director, I like the thing, I like this and that, but the movie for me wasn't good, and it must be the studio, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, that's what he thought. He's not skirting around all those things. He's trying to be nice about it, I guess, but that's just his way of doing things. I would never, Wisp, you're not talking about World War II enough. What's wrong? Is there something you're not telling? I would never start assuming the lack of things you're talking about would say more than what you're actually saying. I would never impose that on someone. That's silly.
It's for very, very, very special occasions.
Like if there was a death in the family, it's like, okay, there's certain things you can't say. If there's something emotional or personal, it's like, I get it. But I wouldn't start as, I would have to know someone very well for them. I'd be like, oh, they could say 20 different things, but they're only saying 2. I was like, oh, okay, now I know what's going on. But for Stuckmann, who the hell knows? That's silly.
Chris Gore is still there?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Chris Gore joined. Yeah.
Anyway, let's try and get through this.
Alcoholic, so Tiffany will not be joining us for New Year's.
The fuck?
Just wanted to say, I'm not saying anything about anything.
Yeah, so this we will get to the portion with Twitter eventually, but we're gonna watch the video first, and that's what this is. And so, yes, when someone says to you, "I'm not going to talk about Madam Web from what I've heard, and because this is about film celebration," you're like, "Wow, how bad was it? Jesus!"
What are you implying? What are you implying, man?
The funny thing is, it's like,
yeah, he was implying it was very bad. My God, you're acting like this is some sort of deeper meaning, like he didn't say it was bad. The implication was he thought it was very bad. Can we get to actually what he says? My God.
Even in a parody sense, I feel like I could come up with a 5-minute video, maybe even 10 minutes praising Madam Web.
You could do it. You could give it a try, yeah.
But he doesn't want to do that. My God, are they actually going to address any points?
Yeah, because he.
But that's the problem. He's a film critic who refuses to critique the film, and instead makes excuses for the failure without naming the failure. It's very strange.
It's like a test driver refusing to drive a car. You know what I'm saying?
No. He did drive the car, and then he refuses to say anything about the drive and the car.
Okay.
And then just blames he then makes excuses for the engineers and the mechanics, and blames the system.
Yeah,
but he doesn't say what the actual problem is.
Yeah, Mercedes is the fault, not the manufacturer or the designer or the mechanic or the engineer. It's like, what are you talking about? Thanks, Chris. Great analysis.
And I won't say anything about the test drive.
I could for 10 minutes.
Good God, I can't wait to see Cinema Wins try to.
Wow. Gary, classy take. Oh, it looks like we got Chris Gore in here now. Jesus.
Make use of Madam Web. That we'll have to wait a while for that one.
He'll avoid that one. He won't do it.
Yeah, that was a difficult one, isn't it?
Did he do one for Morbius?
That's a good question. I shall discover the truth.
Because if he didn't do one for Morbius, my guess would be that he would not do one for Madam Web.
I mean, he's been known to target films, even the ones that are really bad, right? Sometimes.
Did he make a Morbius video? Sorry.
What?
I mean, they're not even addressed. They barely scratch the surface, and they're not even fucking addressing.
Welcome to EFAP, dude.
Welcome to EFAP. They have 5 hours to go.
You're saying a lot by not saying anything. Yeah, he is pretty much saying he didn't like the movie, but he's going into. God damn, these guys are frustrating.
It's going into what?
we of course have everything wrong with because of course, but I can't see in everything all the wins one. I don't see it. Damn, I guess Cinema Wins did not do Morbius. See, that's cowardly. Come on. You got to get
That
in
is
there.
cowardly.
I would
You
love to
coward.
make that. That would be funny as fuck. You'd be like... you could do all the memes, too. But, whatever. Anyway, when you're about film celebration, you're familiar, because, of course, Chris is, with almost every aspect of film creation. There's gotta be things in Madam Web you noticed that you can say, you know what, they did that pretty well. They did...
Because he doesn't want to discuss it. That's not what this video is about. Quit rewriting his video.
This pretty well. They did this, they did this, they did this. You could actually...
I mean, you know...
What's crazy is you could check out like quotes from the producers,
about
or the director, or the writers. You could see what they said about what they did with the movie.
Well, hell, you know, if you're struggling to fill up the runtime, you can do what Chris typically does, which is just name the writers and directors for no particular reason at all. Like
That's
with
like
no
a free...
Name the writers and directors for no particular... You usually name writers and directors because they frequently they were a creative voice behind the piece, and so you name them to make sure they're getting credit, especially if you're doing a positive review. For fuck's sake, guys.
So it wasn't a positive review, if you could even call it a review. And I don't even remember if Chris talked about, what was her name? S.J. Clarkson, I think?
He did bring her up on screen. I don't remember whether he used the name. But why is this guy now assuming that Chris Stuckmann was trying to make a positive video?
Yeah, it was not positive. Well, he says, I want to talk about it in a positive light, but it's obviously he did not say that about the film. So...
Well, Chris, then just don't talk about it then, Chris.
This guy is just too prejudiced to have any logical objective thought on anything. I think.
If I were to bring up a film I didn't like and I mentioned the director or writer, I would say, well, I have problems with the writing, therefore here's the writer. The writer did a bad job, therefore a bad writer. I don't bring him up to, oh, this is a good guy. He's smart. He did a good story, good script, good pacing. It's like, no, I'm going to say he did a bad job. So maybe that's why Chris didn't talk about the writer, maybe? Is that fair?
So we're almost halfway through, and I see nothing relating to the title.
Yeah.
Yeah,
nothing really has happened. He hasn't said anything in half his video. If he's trying to make a point about EFAP being slow on getting into the topic, he's about 5 years too late.
Yeah.
2 minutes right there.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but did he not with this one? At least in the place he usually does, right? Because right at the beginning he usually says, this film was written by, directed by, at the beginning, but he didn't do that with this one.
This isn't a review.
Right.
So it's
You haven't even gone into the video. You don't know. God, this is frustrating.
That format. But if he did, he could.
Which doesn't at all...
The thing is,
go ahead.
Yeah? No, go for it.
I was going to say, which doesn't at all put the idea in someone's head of why aren't you naming the people that were responsible for this?
Well...
Say their names.
Say their names!
Who is responsible for Madam Web? Who could
Name
know?
the beast.
It's not like it's in the film. At the end of the film, it doesn't say who is responsible for what given task. No, it's a mystery. It's elusive.
Group justice.
Yeah, off to a good start.
In the film, I'm going to tell you that this is not a movie review of Madam Web. I am not about bashing filmmakers, artists. I know how...
What are you implying?
So this is where I feel like a lot of people are not even listening to not only his video, but the clip that Lauren provided on Twitter. He's either a very bad speaker, or he just said something that's pretty blatant. I will not review the film because I am not into bashing filmmakers or creatives.
That's just bashing it. That's just with more words.
You're ignoring the greater context of the video that he's about ready to go into. For fuck's sake. If you actually watched the goddamn video, you'd know what he's going into.
No, that was our problem too. Because he babbled around and tiptoed around so much that it wasn't obvious. And when you take that long to make clear what you're actually about, and he also had nothing, the content also had nothing to do with the title, if I remember right, then that's a failure on Stuckmann's part. And you're defending Stuckmann while attacking EFAP for pointing out the actual problem.
Well,
because you already had chosen your side before you have seen any content.
Plus, you should only criticize what you know from the video at that point. You should not say, well, if you watch the video, you know what's coming. It's like, that's not the point. We don't...
The EFAP crew is reacting to it like just live. They haven't watched it through and then began talking about it, you know?
Yeah, it's called feigning ignorance. So you know what's coming, but you're going to suspend this knowledge you have, saying, I'm just going to react to it if I did not know. Would that make sense to me rationally? And the emotional impact will obviously be zero because you've already experienced it. So it's like, all right, let's see if this makes sense from Chris's view and from a completely objective, just observant view, and what happens. And he's like, oh, if you only watch the video. It's like, that's not the point of EFAP.
Yeah, and that's why people hate spoilers, and why people can tell, why an audience can tell the difference between one of these react people to whether it's an honest reaction to something they haven't seen yet, or whether it's something they have seen already and the whole emotional reaction is fake. Humans can tell. And with EFAP, it's sometimes a mixed group, because somebody brings the thing up, and so somebody has already seen it, but isn't spoiling it for the rest, for the most part. And that works.
I would say the biggest issue here is that this guy has already primed us with the knowledge that he doesn't like EFAP. So him being uncharitable at every opportunity just comes as a given.
Yeah.
At this point. And it's not strengthening his arguments.
It's a horrible bias that you come in disliking the thing you're going to be criticizing, starting with swear words, the first paragraph. It's just like this. You do not do this if you're trying to make an argument or trying to get information accurately in an objective manner. So this fellow needs another person to talk to in a very congenial way, in a very friendly way, so that they're not swearing all the time, they're not emotional all the time. They say, okay, what's really going on here? And if you want to sit through a 5-hour video, I mean, that's long and pausing, and this is going to take all day. So I would not recommend that, but he's just angry. And it comes across as childish and petty when, well, you should know better. It's like, we haven't even started into what's going on with the video and their criticisms yet, and you're already angry. So if you're angry at being bored, I'm with you, but it's not, you can't lay that at these guys for reacting to Chris giving a non-review and talking about the industry as opposed to the actual video quality. Anyway, we are almost half done. I thought we'd skip ahead, but there's nothing here.
Yeah, his style is not what I expect of someone with gray in his beard. Maybe someone without a beard.
If I did a review, it would be full of all the terrible negative things that I would say.
On top of that, it's the implication that movie criticism as a practice in general is film bashing.
Exactly. Review equals bashing, which is interesting.
He didn't say that.
Well, he implied it, though.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
These guys are insufferable.
No, they're not.
Look who's talking.
Mm-mm.
Anyways, let's like. All right, I'm sorry. Yeah. So when I said Chris implied it, when he said that, like, I'm not about critiquing films, I'm about celebrating films, even though the two things aren't mutually exclusive. I'm about celebrating it. So when he puts out a negative review, or whenever anyone puts out a negative review, then in his mind, it's like, oh, they're just bashing on the film for, like, no good reason, even if there are, like, objective faults in it. So that's pretty much why he's pretty much given up on critiquing films, and why the EFAP crew are upset at him for making this pussy-footed video. You know what I'm saying?
Has he ever celebrated The Room?
I don't know, but he did make a hilariosity review of it once upon a time, where it's basically so bad it's good. That's basically what hilariosity is. So bad it's good.
That's a horrible word, but that is still a critique.
Yeah.
That's not celebration.
Okay, we're at 12 minutes.
Because if I was to rewrite his script for him, what you should say is, I know a lot of you might have expected some kind of hilariosity review, but as you know, for several years I've retired those, and I'm more about trying to find the films in the world that sort of...
Exactly, Taki. This is an editorial.
And that Madam Web didn't inspire me in any particular way. So instead of talking about the film, I wanted to talk about something that's happening in, like, the industry. That's what you could have said, but no, you said, I'm not going to review it because I don't want to bash it.
So he words it differently than you would have. He still words it very clearly.
Yeah, and that proves you wrong.
No, he didn't.
Yeah. I mean, one thing has a very certain implication about it, and it's already, going into the negatives, while what Mueller said was a bit more diplomatic. You could infer that, but there is more, and you could actually wait to see the points.
Plus,
and if it is supposed to be an editorial, he should have labeled it as such.
Yeah, and ultimately, Stuckmann does make statements, not in much detail, saying how bad the film is. So he is saying bad things about the film, just not in the way that we wanted, because we care about what's in the film.
Yeah, and we briefly touched on this earlier, but because Chris was being so like I hate to keep using pussyfooted over and over again, but because he was being so pussyfooted about it and was dancing around the issue, not being clear enough with what he was doing here, that's why the EFAP crew was trying to guess at what he was trying to say with this video for so long, It's because Chris wasn't clear with what he was trying to do with this video. Anyway, I digress.
That's kind of like the title of this video.
Yeah.
I sense a pattern.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Was essentially, I went to Madam Web, I didn't like it, and I want to discuss the studio system that went into creating a shitty movie like this. That was the entire implication of his goddamn video, which, I mean, I don't even know if you've gotten to that point because you can't watch it.
And also, what I think he's saying... Yeah. What I think he's saying without saying it is, I'm better than you. Better than you. No, I'm serious.
Well, I don't think he's saying I'm better than his audience, but for my personal opinion, he's better than everybody on the EFAP crew right now.
Why?
It's like temptation. I'm not going to fall into what the lesser people would want to do.
Yes.
Those hedonists.
Yeah,
who watches this shit? This is
you
insufferably boring.
Well, you
Jesus
are.
Christ.
He's being, in my opinion, kind of an elitist prick, but also.
He's being an elitist prick. You've watched like 30 seconds of the fucking video.
Yeah, you can be an elitist prick within 30 seconds. And Chris Gore's assessment on that, I would trust. Because he's actually in the system, he's worked in the system, he knows the people that work there, and the people who come up from the new generation. And there's always elitist pricks among them who think they know everything better than anyone else, and don't want to step on each other's toes, and so it's a form of virtue signaling.
Yeah,
they give false compliments to each other about how awesome the other crap is, just so that they can keep the connections within the industry to keep the networking going, so that there will be people open when they do projects and that they then work for them or finance them and so on. One hand washes the other, and that is why at some point you do not criticize each other, because it's that kind of form of corruption.
That's what happened, or I felt what happened with Chris when he was talking about, well, I know what goes into making a movie because I made my own. It's like, oh, so now that your shoe's on the other foot, you want to be part of that criticism, so you would not want someone to criticize you, which is like, okay, wait a second, just because you made a film doesn't mean your decade worth of experience of criticizing film is like, we're not going to do that anymore. That's wrong. It's like, no, Chris, you're a critic. You also happen to make a film. That's it. There's no one overlaps the other. Now I'm not going to be critical anymore. That's silly. And that came out very clearly. Like, I know this. I know how this works. It's like, okay, great. You understand how the sausage is made. It's still a sausage. What does it taste like? Tell me. and he wouldn't do it. Now, either he's not very good at it, and I don't know because I haven't really watched Chris, or he's scared that people are going to criticize him in his video. So he's like, "Oh, I don't do that. That's not right." Like, wait a second, hold on.
If you have to get to a level of Ebert and Sisko, who are film critics, or Martin Scorsese, to be allowed to criticize other things in the industry, other works in the industry, then something is wrong with the industry.
It's strange because people who do make or end up being able to make a short film or something have a lot to say, and they should have a lot to say about bad film. That should be like so. It's like going into any kitchen and you're a chef and you see how that kitchen operates and they make the same dish as you and you go, "Oh wow, that's really." If something sticks out, like that's not the right way to make whatever, you're going to be highly talkative about what's wrong, and that's just normal. That doesn't matter what genre or what medium you're in. Mm-hmm. You're going to have an opinion right off the bat. And Chris is like, I'm not gonna go there. It's like, dude, you're the perfect guy to talk about what's wrong with Madam Web. You saw the film, you know how films are made, you've made your own film, give me something. And he's like, oh, it's the studios and executives. You're like, yeah, okay, but what about it? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, if you're a pasta chef, and then you go to somebody else's place, and you order a pasta dish, and you get dumplings.
What?
And you don't say anything that it's not pasta but dumplings.
Is this the shepherd's pie analogy again?
Maybe we can do the same thing with meatballs.
Oh, and Chris hasn't even released his film yet.
Oh, really?
Oh. Yeah, he has. Yeah,
so he's nervous.
Apparently, it's. I think it's complete, but he hasn't released it yet. And you really should have seen him talking about how it's almost done, because he is just about as low energy as he is in this video. And he's like, "I'm so happy we finally completed it. I want to thank absolutely every single one of you for believing in me." It's like, it's like Christ, man, show some energy. But anyway,
yeah,
it sounds like he's been beaten.
I think he has been beat. I think just doing this job for like over a lot of years really has beaten him down. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
I would just like to note that we are past the half point of the video, and there was still nothing that would.
Yeah, and he still hasn't gotten to why EFAP is anti-art yet.
Yep, exactly.
So far, the only chaos I see is his room, and I see no organization. And I see neither chaos nor organization between his ears either, because he just says nothing.
Okay.
It stirred a whole... And Mahler, I think I sent you a link to a story which I thought was awful about can movie critics be filmmakers. Right. There are a lot of critics who are filmmakers. I'm one of them. John Campea made a documentary about movie trailers. Stuckmann's made a movie. I think there's clips in one of the videos I sent you.
Which is why he doesn't want to step on any toes.
I'm better than you. I'm better than you because I'm not going to do this. Also, I might end up working for a studio, so I don't want to say these things.
Exactly.
Which is
exactly.
Sort of.
He spends the video bashing the Sony studio system that made the movie. That's the primary goal of his video.
It wasn't the system that made the studio.
Sony is not respecting their Spider-Man property and is making shit movies.
Then it's probably not the studio that he's going to work for.
Yeah, he doesn't want to work.
That he has his ties to.
He doesn't want to work with Sony, obviously. How is this?
So he can make some excuses, but maybe he wants to work with the people who made Madam Web, or has friends who are friends with the people who made Madam Web, and then that would explain why he doesn't want to lay blame on them, even though it is entirely their fault and not the systems in this case.
Yeah, there's
the Highlander movies, the later Highlander movies like 5 and 6.
Oh God,
they are the product of the studios, and my God, don't ever watch that if you want to retain your sanity.
Well,
Henry Cavill mumbled that there might be something in the works. By the way,
well. The issue is that this guy's Organized Chaos is saying, well, he's criticizing Sony. Why would he want to do that if he wants to work for the studios? He's criticizing one studio. that made this one film. He's not criticizing dozens and dozens of studios that he may have already worked with. So I'm sure each studio is competing with each other. So bashing the guy up on top, pretty normal in the industry. In fact, that's how it goes in any industry. So.
Yeah, and you know what else? He also brought up like, oh, he's bashing the studios for abusing the Spider-Man property and making a shit movie. You know who also can do that? The filmmakers.
Oh yeah. There's nothing wrong with attacking the publisher if you're unhappy with them. And to Chris, he thinks the studio's at fault. It's not because he wants to work with the studio. I don't know, maybe he does. But they don't ultimately care because
he wants to work with a studio.
Yeah, I know. He was saying all these things about, it all comes down to what the studio wants. The same way it all comes down to a professor's view on whether or not you get to write a thesis under him or not. If he says, no, I don't care. You could have the greatest idea. You could have groundbreaking research. He doesn't care. He's not going to let you do your PhD or your thesis if he doesn't approve it because he's not looking for that for whatever reason. So it's the same thing. You go somewhere else, you publish your film. There's dozens of studios all throughout the world. And if you really want to make your product, whether it's a movie or a game or whatever, you will find that relationship. So just because he's bashing the biggest studio, or one of the biggest studios there is, doesn't mean he doesn't want to work with other studios.
Probably not the best move. If he's doing what you're implying and sucking up to studio systems.
I don't know. I think he's making his intentions pretty plain.
It makes me feel like he's it's just I'm good and I'm better than you in a way that we would consider him lesser than us.
These people are insufferable.
I don't think they're inherently wrong. Again, if you are a chef of some skill, I'm not saying Chris is a great producer, director, writer, but again, he's made a sausage. He knows how the sausage is made, and he's like, I have knowledge of this now. It may not be years and years. It may be only 3 months. I don't know how long it took, but now he has his knowledge. So obviously he's going to have an opinion on how a film is made, and for whatever reason, he chose to attack the problem of the executives as opposed to the actual writer and producer.
From the few things that Organized Chaos has said so far, it comes across as he has to be against every single thing that anyone from EFAP says. He has to be a contrarian about that. And he will headcanon defenses for Chris Stuckmann.
Almost, yeah. It feels that way. Like, Chris Gore is not going to lie. I don't think Rags is going to... Like, these guys are pretty off the cuff anyway.
Well, on this one, I would say they don't have reason to.
Yeah, there's no like hidden agenda. Like, we got to defend Chris Stuckmann. We hate... No, there's nothing like that. They just listening to Chris and going, this is weird. Why are they saying
this?
Yeah,
this is not God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah. So...
I don't think... Nah, it's off topic. I don't want to go on a tangent. Never mind.
All right. We are at 15 minutes. My God, we're going to be done in like 10, 20 at this rate.
This is painful in the wrong way.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to temper my opinions and decide what I am and am not going to cover because of my aspirations and who might be upset by that in terms of who I want to work.
He said that we've gotten like 30 seconds of video and these guys are just filling time, essentially pretending to understand what's going through his head.
No.
It's what you're doing.
These guys want to argue, like, the fans of you EFAP fans. I know you're probably going to watch this video, especially if I cut this up, because, oh my God, I'm covering EFAP. You guys will come in and be like, I'm bad faith. This is bad faith. This is
the
very goddamn...
No, projection. Everything you say is projection.
Explain, sir.
I would like to ask him, what about the game reviewers? This is precisely the exact same behavior. They do not want to lose access. They want to be the first ones to put the review out. And he's doing very similar thing.
And they're addicted to free copies of games from the companies.
Yeah, and we saw that. I saw that with the past week with Unicorn Overlord, because it's the newest thing from Atlas, and Atlas keeps releasing games, and it's one of those titles that they're not putting on PC because of the publisher agreement. and everyone wants it on PC. It's like, no, we're going to put it on Switch and PS5 and whatever. And it's like, yeah, but everyone wants it.
PS5 gets a game.
And Xbox, yeah. It's like, these games. I think, what is it? Dragon's Dogma is coming out on PC this month. So it's like, it's their fault they're losing my money. It's so silly. But that's the publisher's rules. It's stupid. They're losing money. They'd make so much more money if it was on PC, and they could totally handle it because it's designed for Xbox.
That's your fault for being PC only.
Yeah, well, I'm a minimalist when it comes to tech. So anyway.
They are putting words in this thing. They're saying,
no, they're not. What words? They're implying things. They're guessing. What's he really trying to say?
Projecting.
Yeah,
he's projecting hard.
If they say actual words, like Chris really meant to say XYZ, it's like, okay, then they go with that, then they'd be putting words in his mouth and creating this straw man of this Chris Stuckmann fellow who's not there. So no, they're just assuming because of all the things they've seen, which we have also seen, he made a film, he's not going to criticize the film that he watched, he blames someone else or the studio as a whole, which is immaterial because who knows what the hell happened with the film. Aside from the one interview we do know with Clarkson that said, I had full creative control. So if that's the truth, then that's what we have to go with. So if she says so, okay, she's the one in control. That's it. There's no other interviews that said why this movie sucks so bad. Aside from the actual actor, the main, what's her face from the 50 Shades of whatever. She said even this... Yeah, her. Even she didn't like the film. She didn't like her part.
Yeah, she didn't even see it on opening night.
Yeah, so the people
she didn't like making this thing.
Yeah, the people involved are saying this is a bad film, and Chris is like, oh, it's the studio.
That should be mentioned. Yeah. That should be covered because this is one of those moments in movie history.
Yeah, rule of thumb. If an actor doesn't go to see a film on opening night, it's because they hated working on it and possibly they know it's a pile of crap.
And she's the lead.
They don't want to be further associated with it.
Yeah, it's like Keanu Reeves saying, I didn't like the Matrix film. It wasn't very good. The director sucked. It's, oh my God, really? Holy shit. Or Russell Crowe going, yeah, Gladiator, I hated working with everyone. Oh my God, really?
Well, at least in those cases, those are good movies that the actors had rough times with. This is just a genuinely bad movie that everyone is having a bad time with.
Yeah.
Right.
Elitist. He's sucking people are bad for giving a bad review to Madame Web, which are things that are absolutely not said and are not the topic of the video he makes whatsoever. So rather than actually address any issues he talks about in his video, they are just essentially setting up...
Dude, they're getting there. Relax.
...a straw man, Chris Stuckmann, for them to tear down and make fun of. Such bullshit.
You don't need to make... You don't need to straw man.
It's like, we all know it. Like, that's what the game is. Yeah, we all know. He's going, no, I'm good because of it.
It's like, no, it's not. It's not the kind of person I want to be. And it's like, no, it's just you don't want to step on the wrong, you don't want to step on anybody's toes, basically.
Yeah, if the wizard visited him and told him, well...
He spends the whole video bashing Sony. Most of this video, the Chris Stuckmann video, is him bashing Sony.
What's your point?
Just...
And in a disingenuous way, that's the whole issue.
Insane.
No, and if you made a video on Madame Web giving your honest opinions... it will not affect any career aspirations that you have. And if he knew that and believed it, then he might do it. It might just be about...
the reason he wasn't there is because he's got to keep it consistent.
He doesn't bash he bashes the whole studio system. So if we're talking about not wanting to risk his career, what he actually does is way riskier for his career than just bashing Madame Web.
No. Right. As said before, that depends on what studio he wants to go to.
Let alone a studio would listen to this, and they would also say, yeah, Madame Web is a shitty film, and I agree. And maybe even executives in Sony says, yeah, it was a shitty film. So, like, what's the problem here? Like, this is the strangest thing. So what if he attacks Sony, and he thinks it's the the fault of making Madam Web. So what? Does that ruin his chances with the publisher or potential publisher in any studio he comes across? No. No one cares.
When you're putting a blame on the entire entity, you are basically disassociating it with anything else. So, for example, it's as if you said that internet is responsible for increasing violence or stuff like that.
Yeah.
It may be, but who knows? And that is exactly what Chris is doing.
This is this is the same argument I've heard of people talk about. EA is in control or Microsoft is in control. The studio or the developer is they're privy to the executives. Like, yes, but then you actually hear interviews and you listen to the writer and the producer and directors of these things, and they go, well, EA gives you enough rope to hang yourself on. This was this person's idea. Casey Hudson said that. It's like, oh, so what did EA do? Oh, they just gave us the money and said, do what you want. It's that common, I don't know, it must be the executive's fault sort of deal.
It's claimed.
When everyone knows stuff like movies and video games are highly creative productions, highly technical, you can't just blame the guy upstairs who's writing the checks. That's stupid.
Yeah.
That's probably the only reason why not.
So yeah, that is the assumed motivation for many people. And by the way, before anyone assumes like, oh, you're just taking the worst route ever, this is the overwhelming majority of the opinion from his audience, is that he's trying to be careful so he can ingratiate himself into the...
This is insufferable.
No, Mahler's being correct. That's what a lot of people who watch this video, his audience, not him, his audience said this. People on Twitter said this. People on Reddit said this. What's up with Chris Stuckmann in that video? Other YouTubers went, what the hell is up with this guy? But no. Mahler and crew are insufferable just for repeating what everyone else is saying.
Yeah, this is the most wrong time to come to Stuckmann's defense.
I don't get this guy.
Yeah, I would assume now if ever a guy like Organized Chaos came to my defense, that's just proof that I'm wrong.
Yeah, if Mahler and Rag said the sky is blue, water is wet, they'd be like, oh, they're so insufferable. Don't you know water could be a solid and a gas? Like, what's wrong with these? Are these guys never gone to school? Do they understand basic?
Don't you know this guy read at 5 or something?
And if they said the sky was blue, he would contest it.
Yeah, that's what all this is. This is this entire video. There's nothing of substance here.
So this is childish.
Speaking of Organized Chaos, I was wrong. His real name isn't Dave, it's Bob.
His name is Robert? Oh, God.
His name's Bob, yeah. Seen at the bottom.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm gonna maybe jump to a different part. This is ridiculous, though. They're not even addressing the points he's making. He is just so full of shit. Let's see. Are they still covering it at this point?
With the Spider-Verse films, I see Lord and Miller that have had massive success on the big screen in the past that have made...
Have you looked into what they've said? What if they said, it's a bit grueling because a lot of your choices get slapped down by the studio, but ultimately you still get to make something that people are inspired by? Like, what?
Lord and Miller are known names and get far more creative power. I guarantee you that.
That shirt
Lord
looks
and Miller
like a pajama.
have far more influence in the movies they make for Sony than S.J. Clarkson. This is not a one-to-one comparison.
What if they said...
And when Chris is making this comparison, he's not making it a one-to-one comparison. He's pointing out that Lord and Miller have a fair amount of control over those movies, and that's why they're so good.
Something like that.
Yeah, but Clarkson said she had full control over her movie.
Uh-huh. That's right.
So she chose to put the big Pepsi logo or the big Pepsi at the ending of the film, as tacky as that was.
That's right.
So I don't understand, dude. I mean, we have limited knowledge of these interviews and conversations, but we have to work with what we get. So.
Uh-oh.
I wonder what his opinion is on the reported crunch on Across the Spider-Verse. Good old Chris Stuckmann. I wonder if he has an opinion on it.
Oh, I have an opinion on... I assume you're talking about how the animators were overworked. That was bullshit. While I thought the movie looked amazing and they did great work, how they were overworked was ridiculous and unjustifiable.
and whether or not they have any amount of responsibility for anything that would have been brought up relating to that.
Of money for a
director, potentially, but that's probably more a studio thing again.
A lot of people and have proven themselves to be very smart at what they do, and I can totally see a company like Sony saying, why don't you guys give us your best shot and then we'll give you some notes. Now, for a filmmaker like S.J. Clarkson, who made Madam Web, she's had a long and respectable career directing television, but she's directing her first movie, and it's a Sony superhero movie. When I saw Madam Web earlier today, there wasn't a single part of me that thought, wow, this is just a terrible filmmaker. I could not help.
They're really.
Wait. You gotta see how he finishes the sentence for that to make sense.
Okay.
A terrible filmmaker. I could not help but see the myriad of evidence that has been laid at all of our feet that this is a studio that is simply retaining the rights to their characters, that does not care about the quality of this experience they're giving us.
Sure, okay.
So there's nothing she could have done. Nothing she could have done.
No, I see Chris Gore left and Critical Drinker joined.
Present us with this myriad of evidence that's been laid at our feet.
Also,
you mean the product placement, the fact... Listen, you can actually, like, if you're familiar with movie making, you can kind of get a sense for shit like that. When there is a soulless movie that you're watching, or a soulless piece of art that you are looking into, hey, you know, I have a soulless piece of art right here. Boom. Soulless piece of art.
Oh,
it's
no.
art. It's technically art.
God.
But it is soulless. There isn't... This is just...
The guy who actually put his heart and soul into it, you call it soulless?
I've seen...
Yeah, I admit... I'm sorry. I mean, I know Some got its problems, but you could tell that Eric July has a passion for comic books when he made that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I've gone to comic conventions and I've bought, like, there's all these independent guys just selling their one-issue comic here and there in black and white because that's all they can afford. And yeah, the art is not that great, the story is not that great, but you can tell this was a one-man operation. He put everything into that. And you're like, geez, like, that's, like, just to sit back and read 30 pages of one guy's artwork.
I think Eric July did have some help on Some. I can't quite remember. Either way, not important.
Yeah, you don't have to be the writer as well as the artist, but you see that in manga a lot. But even then, that's one guy's creativity and then one guy's visual skills and then maybe some, you know, all this money, hundreds of dollars for coloring. That is heart and soul. I don't know what this guy thinks artwork is, but it's not just a bunch of doodles you do in your spare time. You have to hit a schedule, a deadline. You have to get the inking done. You have to get the printing done. You have to get the shipping done. This is not just, I'm going to wake up and, you know, maybe I'll do a comic book series. It's like, no, you're writing a freaking book.
Yeah, so to loop it back around, I do agree that, you know, this shitty Madam Web movie has a soul. It's just still a shitty movie.
It does have a soul?
Really?
I think
I mean, in the sense that like the creator had a vision and knew what they wanted to do, and you know you can tell in interviews that she's like, I mean, if you watch interviews, she's like, oh, I'm super passionate about this, and I wanted to put.
That's just words. They always say these. It's always the same lines, no matter which movie it is. That says nothing.
They were invested a little bit. They had something related to a vision. I mean, more so.
Also, now it's down to a little bit. You already backpedal. I believe that the maker of the Barbie movie had passion, had soul. Put into that. That it was just ended up to be the opposite of what you wanted to make. That's another story. But that was passion. I don't think that was the case here.
I could say, as much as I hated. I don't know if you guys remember the comic book Redemption by Mac Walters. It was the Liara superhero comic where Liara...
Mass Effect Redemption?
Yeah, where she tries to save her friend Theron. It's how she became jaded in Mass Effect 2. It's just all this, you know, backstory. This is one of the worst comic books I ever read. But you can tell that...
It was all right.
Oh, it was garbage. I've read a lot of comics. This is one of the worst. You could tell that Walters and the people involved, as bad as the story and artwork were, you could see, they're really trying to get this character on the page. They're really trying to get Liara to be Liara or something, some other version of Liara, and they don't know how to do it. they're like, okay, she's really angry. What does that look like? Okay, and she's has all these action poses, and you're like, this is Liara? When did she get so angry? How? Why? And she's so enthusiastic about saving or stopping Shadowbroker with Theron, and it just doesn't connect. But you could say there was lots of passion behind that work. So empty? No. Stupid, antiquated with the storyline and bad version of it? Yeah, sure. But I wouldn't say passionless. I don't think Mac Walters doesn't try. I think he's not the right guy for the job to be skilled. When I look at Gaiman stories, all kinds of Gaiman comic books, I don't know if he has a soul in them. I think they're very well done because it's Gaiman. He knows what he's doing. And he can give you he can give you hooks that keep you occupied.
Some of his stories do have a magic spark in them.
Right.
Some don't.
But I wouldn't call that a soul.
But many of them really, really do.
I wouldn't call that a soul. To me, that is just a very good cook in the kitchen. He's like, I know how to do horror. I know how to do gods and mythology and this. It's like, here we go. It's like, yep, you could take that. He created his own modern gods like the internet and media and all these other characters in his American Gods book. And you're like, that's classic Gaiman. I wouldn't call that full of soul, though, even if you really liked it. Like when I'm talking about soul, I'm talking about passion. I'm talking about a guy who doesn't know exactly what he's doing, or maybe has a good idea, and he just runs with the idea, and he just keeps going and going and going. I was like, whoa, this dude is not letting up on his vision.
I would say Gaiman's passion was in Sandman.
Yeah. I'd say
Gaiman's biggest issue is that he goes up his ass a lot. That's just my opinion.
What do you mean?
I think Gaiman and his stories just go up their own ass a lot. Like they're real pretentious.
Example?
Oh my god. Just like all the just a lot of having his characters just like sort of like ponder off and just monologue about a lot of stuff. It's like, Jesus Christ, these characters are really introspective and like, holy hell, but whatever.
Yeah, that's part of his writing style. Introspective characters can be interesting. Maybe you'll grow into it.
I just think he overdoes it. But
pretentious stuff is more in his short stories.
Yeah.
I think
either way, let's get
Fragile Things is a short story compilation by him, and there are some really good ones, and then there is actual pretentious crap in there.
I read the Trigger Warning short story novella or anthology rather, and there were some really duds, like just dumb was, but some of them were brilliant. I was like, wow, this one about the old woman in the end of the line. I was like, whoa, that was like 4 pages or 5 pages. Like, whoa, this is really deep. So. Yeah, short stories are a little more experimental than the comic books and the novels, especially American Gods, which I would say American Gods has moments of pretentiousness in it, but as a whole, I think he did a decent job. Anyway, whole other topic.
Let's get back
to the video.
Yeah.
I would say that the biggest problem here is that Organized Chaos says that when there is like too much of a product placement stuff and things like that, you cannot make a good movie with it. And I do think that is a very, very, very wrong assumption. Mm-hmm. For example, with the Lego movie first, and then there was this trilogy of the how was it called? The Cornetto trilogy or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rotom, can you mute your spousal disputes?
Sorry.
There was product placement there. But the movies were good.
Yeah, I remember.
So you can work with it. You just need to know how to do it.
Yeah, I remember.
And that was clearly not the case here.
With Wayne's World, the first Wayne's World, they did it obviously a lot of fourth wall breaks in Wayne's World. But they had that one scene where Wayne is just like Pepsi and then pizza, and he's doing all these product shots while they're cutting to him. So yeah, obviously that's a bit of a farce. But yeah, you can do product placement. I don't know if you want to look at Superman and the Henry Cavill film where he was going through, was it an IHOP or I don't know, a gas station?
Pete Ross works at an IHOP, and when he's fighting Zod, they crash into a frickin' Sears.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. it all gets destroyed anyway. So I'm like, it feels like the whole idea behind that film was like you have Neil deGrasse Tyson on CNN talking about aliens and like, oh, what would happen if this was real? Like that's the whole idea. So they got as realistic as possible. They put real things. I'm like, okay, fair enough, do that.
Yeah, but if you thought that shit was ridiculous, wait till you watch all of Michael Bay's work.
Oh no,
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, the Cornetto trilogy is a great example for product placement done right. This is similar to Wayne's World because it's the proper products in a realistic setting where they would pop up, where it makes the world come across not fleshed out, but realistic, honestly, relatable. And the opposite of that would be, oh, what did I have in mind? My chat just distracted me. Right. The best counterexample to be is the current meme for Cerveza Cristal.
What does that mean?
Cerveza Cristal. Brazilian? Argentinian? Beer?
Yeah, I think it's Chilean stuff.
Chilean? Whatever.
Yeah.
The joke about that is they only got the localization of the original Star Wars movies in, I think, 2006. And didn't want to put ad breaks between. So they instead put their beer ads in places for the story where it could work. And the scene where Obi-Wan gives Luke the lightsaber from his trunk, it cuts into an ad for Cerveza Cristal, the beer, and your father always wanted you to have this, and you see the beer there, and it's like, oh god.
Yeah. It's a Pilsner Chilean beer. It's kind of a joke. Anyway.
That's kind of how you make a meme, but not product placement, serious product placement in a movie.
Anyway, we got for almost 4 minutes. This guy
of nothing.
We are just gonna blacklist this dude. He is worthless. He is absolutely vapid. There's nothing here.
Yes, and he judges the products of people by who the people are that make them, not by themselves.
Yeah.
By like a business. This is not made by somebody who had a cool story. Madam Web is very similar. It's not made like
how do you know?
S.J. Clarkson made a movie, but like Sony executives had their hands in it.
How do you know?
They had their hands in Spider-Man 3. And
how do you know, sir?
She said they didn't. He said they didn't, so it's all on her.
He said they didn't. He said they didn't. None of the EFAP crews say they did. So how do you know that, sir?
All just in your head. Your head can. You're basically disagreeing with Chris. You're undermining Chris's point.
Yeah, this is again saying the whole Mass Effect trilogy is ruined because of EA. Oh, and Microsoft. Oh, and every other publisher who was under BioWare. It's like, no, this was all planned to be this way. And maybe it wasn't planned very well, but it was planned by the people in charge, which were the creatives. It was
planned by Xanatos.
The worst thing you could say that EA did to Mass Effect was not give BioWare enough time for Mass Effect 3.
I guess. I mean, it's the same with Dragon Age. All these issues that
a 2-year release window, that's not enough time to iron it out. You know what I'm saying?
Not for a game like that. Not for a game like that.
Yeah. No.
If the guys who did New Vegas could do it in a year and was it 9 months?
And half of that was learning the engine.
And it was so like every time I hear how they made that, I was like, are you serious? At that amount of time? And they always do all this regressive.
Not every studio can be Obsidian, you know that?
Well,
they should be. They could aspire.
Josh Sawyer is a weird guy. I don't know if he'd be good at doing anything else. Some of his other games are very strange, and I never liked Pillars of Eternity very much. As much as I still have their mouse padded, I ground to the dust. But you know, it's just that one of those perfect storms that Chris Avellone and all these other guys together And it's like, hey, let's do a thing. After you do a thing, this guy runs up to you and says, hey, you did a thing. It's like, yeah, do that for everything. That's what happens in the game. Who knew that would be brilliant? That'd be like the best thing I've ever seen in any game. Where after you do a thing, a day later, some guy runs up to you and says, hey, thanks for doing the thing. Here's a power up or whatever. You're like, oh, that's weird. Or if you do a bad thing, the guy comes up to you and tries to kill you. It's like, oh my God, it's a great idea. So, simple game designs.
Spider-Man 3 was directed by Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi was a fairly established director when that movie was made. If they're willing to fuck around with his movie, imagine what they're going to do with...
Did Sam Raimi come out and say the studios screwed him with Spider-Man 3?
I think there was an issue. Yeah, I think there was an issue with the villains because there wasn't supposed to be all of them.
Oh, I remember that.
He didn't want to do Venom, I believe.
The studio forced him to use Venom when he didn't want to.
Right. And Sandman was just sort of thrown there as an afterthought. And what was the other guy?
Harry Osborn.
I was thinking of the Rhino, I think. Was that the one?
No, Smud. You're thinking of Amazing Spider-Man 2. He's talking about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3.
The third one. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Like S.J. Clarkson. I would imagine that saying that it's her movie is generous to say the least.
Why?
Help us to see what you see, Chris.
Yes.
Help us.
Because also, they didn't set out to make a shit movie. Nope. Sony obviously wanted this movie to make a bit.
Oh my God, he's just out openly defending Sony right now. Sony.
Yeah, a producer goes out to make money. They want their film to do well. They think it's going to do well if they do these things. That's generally how everyone thinks when they make a product. It doesn't matter if it's media or a drink or whatever. No one wants to be known for making crap, let's just say. So, yes.
Yeah, and no one wants
except Ryan Johnson.
Okay.
Well, that's just because he's a gigantic... He's just an intentional...
You don't need to elaborate, we all know.
He can direct. Do not give him the script.
All right.
That's it.
Wanted to make... Okay, let's see what this argument is. But it sounds like he's about ready to say Sony just wanted to make a good movie, but S.J. Clarkson fucked it up. Let's see what Will Jordan says. Maybe I'm wrong.
$1 billion. They wanted it to be good, so they clearly did care about providing a good experience for the end user, the audience. They just weren't able to deliver it. Whose fault is that? Is it theirs, or is it the creatives,
or is it both? Or
why would they have meddled?
Yes, so that is his argument. His argument is Sony just wanted to make a good Madam Web movie, but the creatives fucked it up. So
No. He didn't say that. He literally said, I don't know. It could be the creatives. It could be Sony.
Could be both.
Right. And he construes that and says, no, it's the creatives. It's like, are you deaf?
You need some dextrose.
Can we rewind that? I'm quite sure that Drinker was like, no, it could be both.
Did care about providing a good experience for the end user, the audience. They just weren't able to deliver it. Whose fault is that? Is it theirs, or is it the...
He's asking a question. He does not know. He's opening up debate. He has no clue. I don't think anyone else does. This dude...
That's fair.
This dude, whoever Organized Chaos is so dense and so biased. There is no point listening to him at all. He's already made his mind up, and he's like, oh, I know, these guys are going to react. This is how they're going to react. He has it written down. This is what the Drinker's going to say. This is how I'm going to say. It's like, what? Are you that thick?
I just read through Madam Web's trivia page on TV Tropes. There is no evidence of executive meddling there. So no.
Or is it both? Or
why would they have meddled?
Yes, so that is his argument. His argument is Sony just wanted to make a good Madam Web movie, but the creatives fucked it up so that they didn't come out. Jesus fucking Christ.
Okay, we're done. He is either lying to us or he is so biased he did not hear a word the Drinker said.
I think both. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's enough for me. I think we could put this poser on black because this is absolutely.
I think we should. I think we should just get at least one more video from him for doing that.
No.
No.
What is wrong with you?
I think it's a waste of time.
This is. You have sat with us through this. There is not a neuron between his ears.
I mean, surely there's at least one...
We get more sensible lines out of Renegade Cut and Cavernacle.
I mean, surely he's got another video that's worth a damn more than this.
No, this isn't even worth a damn. How is there another that's worth a damn if this isn't even worth a damn?
All right, we can put him on the blacklist. All right.
Bloody hell.
I got all these weird memes. The Toxic Brood.
That's was the original name for the EFAP fandom, which has turned very, very woke in recent years. It was a slow process. Maybe that explains the shilling for Ragnar woke.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know though.
What is?
Oh, he was. No.
I don't know what's going
on.
No
is a fringy meme.
All right.
Yeah.
Remember when people were saying Phase 4 was good? EFAP remembers? Phase 4. What was Phase 4?
Phase 4 of the NCU.
Yeah.
Also, hi everyone.
Let me switch into the stream memes. Where's that?
Where does that start? Does force you to play. You're a Nazi now. What? What the?
It's the
Smud. Where are you?
What was it? This cartel thing.
I don't know what that is. It's got a cross. It's got as one of those.
Oh! I remember. This was when they watched extra credits Nazi video.
And suddenly you are a Nazi.
Oh, that's extra credits.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how extra credits draws the game cartridges. I'm sorry, game boxes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's I remember him. That's
Downward Thrust.
Was it Downward Thrust or the other guy? I get the two mixed up all the time.
Downward Thrust.
Okay. The most relevant game.
Yeah, when he discovered cooking, that was so wholesome.
Oh yeah.
Oh Lord, that video.
I was traumatized. Like, what are you doing to that poor?
I don't think he knew what he was doing either.
Apparently, Mark tried it out. He said it was pretty good. I was like, I don't know. That's so many ingredients. Cooking time was like 2 hours. Like, what are you doing in that thing? Anyway. The most relevant games that stand up today are the ones that gel with our current gameplay trends. Founder of the intellectual gaming community. What does that mean?
There was that.
What game? What is he talking about?
I think it's a meme coming from the whole stuff. Yeah.
Okay, you should stop watching EFAP. It's run by a bunch of nerds who make videos that are too long. And EFAP YouTubers are extremely racist, homophobic, and sexist. Quit having fun! Okay. That's a lot of memes.
It's pretty much this guy.
Twitch streamers, low. Oh my god, react harder, forehead. What? Should I just starve? EFAP, I will spend the next 10 minutes critiquing this man's room. We shall spend the stream expanding the lore.
Oh god.
Yeah, that was the better times.
Nobody panics when things go according to plan. If tomorrow I say that EFAP will cover Brown Table, or that Movie Bob has a take that's pure tism, nobody panics because it's all part of the plan. But when I say that Jenny Nicholson has a Joker take that is shit, well then everyone loses their minds.
Everyone loses minds.
Was that the episode 8 thing she did? Or was it the Joker one?
She for TLJ.
Was it TLJ or Joker? I can't remember anyway.
The Joker. It was the Joker thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
A lot of people came to her rescue.
Oh, that too?
Could say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say the line, Wolf. Hello, all my N-words.
He said the line.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
That's just a wolf greets everyone.
All right. Part spider, part scorpion creature found in amber. Oh, cool. Australians. Yeah, I've seen that one. That's pretty good. Did you see? I don't know if you guys saw that. A bunch of kangaroos invaded a golf park in Australia, like yesterday or 2 days ago.
Oh, really?
It was hilarious. We're talking hundreds of kangaroos. It's like, holy crap.
Did they beat up anyone?
I don't know, but it was like, holy shit. That was frightening. Anyway, I can't read that. Black on black?
I can't. Wait, which one are you reading? Which one are you on, Smud?
Did you just post a bunch of EFAP memes?
I think this is all we're doing, yeah.
It looks like it, yeah.
Smud, which one are you on?
The one with Invincible. He's looking at him and saying...
Does it hurt? Well, why don't you just pretend these wounds were what you wanted? Feel better now? Think, cinema wins. Think.
Okay. Dude, you're embarrassing me in front of the long man. What is this?
Shad's friends, I think. I don't know.
Oh.
It looks like his kids.
His kids?
Normal Australian animal? What? I don't know what that is. Again, don't want to know what that is.
Which one are you on, Smud?
I'm just going through. I'll watch Madame Web for the plot, and it's, I don't know who that is, and then the plot has like 4 chicks in it. Okay. Madame Web.
They were horribly dressed.
Oh, it means that they're only watching it for the hot women. That's why.
Too small. So you see, that's where the trouble began, and it's the guy from Miss Marvel, I think, or Captain Marvel.
Oh god.
Yes.
Oh, Smud, I know which one. It's about a news article that a dude got thrown out of the theater for masturbating to Julia Carpenter.
Really?
The one up above.
Okay. Well, I didn't like War. What? Responding to the joys. Well, I didn't like War. What the? What is the joys? Oh. Okay, so
it's a joke. It's a joke.
So Jenny Nicholson, but it's the Joy or the boss
Joy.
from MGS3. And because it's Major Zero, the whole plot is Major Zero is the granddaddy of everything that happens.
Major Zero's trying to create the frickin' Patriots.
Yeah. Therefore, they made a 12-hour video. Okay, I get it. TLJ's the best, most complex movie ever made. TLJ's a space wizard movie made for children.
Yeah. Star Wars
most complex
always
space
had...
movies with a children thing.
Star Wars
brain
has
damage.
always had an identity crisis when it comes to that.
Well, could just be poorly written. Roger.
Well, the reason. I'm sorry, Smut. If I may articulate for a little bit, the reason why I say that is because when George Lucas made Star Wars, he always envisioned it to sort of be like this fun, adventurous movie for kids. You know, a bit like Wizard of Oz or Thief of Baghdad, stuff like that. But when the fan base who saw it as kids grew up and stuck with it, they stuck around and they became a vocal part of the fan base. So now Star Wars has to juggle between to keeping the children audience that they want to keep catering to, while also keeping the adult fans happy.
Not really. That's nonsense. That's a nonsensical strategy or belief.
Yeah.
You just make the movies as you made them initially, and everything's fine. Look at Empire Strikes Back. Is that a fun adventure movie for children?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Dare say yes or no. Dare say yes or no.
Yes, it is a fun, but the reason
it's a fun adventure movie for children.
It's a fun adventure movie for children, but
Han Solo getting frozen alive, Luke getting his hand chopped off.
Wisp, I'm about to articulate why, but when you but then it didn't quite get so bad in the original Move trilogy, but it really got bad in the prequels and sequels, because that's when you had like ridiculous kid appeal characters doing zany things But
yeah, that's the insane part. That's where it went all wrong because of this belief that we need to up the ante for the children.
But you also had boring scenes of Galactic Senate debates and a lot of
that wasn't for adults. That was just badly written.
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back defeats the whole point you were trying to make.
No, Whisp, I'm not talking. No, I'm talking about later on, after the original trilogy finished up.
Yeah, but none of that is catering to kids who grew up. The Star Wars original trilogy was truly made for the entire age range of the audience, and it worked.
I meant for it's the kind of movie where children can watch it, but the parents can watch it with them, right? And the problem even got compounded when some of those children grew up and they started writing their own media for Star Wars, but they began writing it from an adult perspective.
I completely disagree with your entire assessment of the situation.
I think you have mixed up your point quite a bit. So.
All right. Well, I'm probably not articulating it well, so.
I'm well ahead of you guys, so we'll just almost done with it.
Yeah. That's fine.
I look at this, I don't see a bad cook. I see executive meddling or some shit. I don't know. Stuckmann. What? This is, I mean, if you want to play with your food, that's your business, but this is dumb. And I've seen worse, but people can. If you go to a market fair or any kind of like exhibition fair, we have one every year where they have double fried ice cream or Mars bars or whatever.
What?
There's all kinds of crazy things. I've seen stuff like tacos with pasta inside of them or mac and cheese creations that are all kinds of bizarre desserts. So
I have seen fried watermelon.
I haven't seen that. I've seen fried pineapple.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's scary.
Ew.
It's like people only do things because they get paid, and that's really sad. It's that great scene where they're going back and forth. It's Garth and Wayne. They get all these product placements.
There you go, Wisp. That's what I meant. I just posted in the call chat.
The what?
I posted what I was trying to get at in the call chat.
Well, we're watching memes now.
Memes. Yep.
All right.
I know. I just put it there for later.
So here's where.
People are just doing Cerveza Cristal's job for them now and just putting it everywhere.
Oh, jeez. Cerveza Cristal. You'll need these. Oh.
They just 21 it up. That's great.
Dear. That's great. You have
and
my
I hear
sword
the jingle every time now.
And my bow and my Cerveza Cristal. Oh, it's the briefcase.
Yes. Would make a good shot of the she-devil, yeah.
My soul is Cerveza Cristal.
Somebody made a funny animation from, I think, Half-Life Alyx, where Gordon wakes up and then somebody hands him the Cerveza Cristal.
Oh no. Listening is hard.
Is this actually a new meme or is this also taken from EFAP? Because this one is really good.
I think that one's new. It just got posted.
Yeah, no, this guy is not paying it. If you cannot listen, like this guy, like I could have sworn, and I was right with the commentary by Drinker. If you could not understand what a man has just stated 3 seconds ago, and you reiterate it in either a lie or what your brain processed to be something which was untrue, this is not someone you want to talk to, let alone listen to. So no, this person is worthless. I'm sure I didn't even check the down. Let me check the downvotes. Oh yeah, he's got 47 upvotes versus 260 downvotes. No, he is so ridiculous, worthless. Like, there's nothing there. He may as well be lying. And if you don't like EFAP, that's fine. If you like watching long streams, that's fine. But give it the time of day if you are to pay attention to listen to what they have to say. This guy couldn't even do that. And that was the point of his video.
It really looked like at some points as if he was just staring blankly at the screen and then saying some things.
For the sake of saying something, because, I don't like EFAP, let me wait till they say something silly or different or confusing, and then I'll have my own take on it, which is wrong. Which is, I don't know. Why would you do that? Why? Just don't do it. Don't make a video on things you don't like, dude. Anyway, we have some super chats I skipped. Here's Frog Jupiter. Thank you, sir. Just got here. Did you heard about Rooster Teeth? That was 2 days ago, or was it yesterday? I can't remember. That Rooster Teeth went bye-bye. I think it was overshadowed by Akira Toriyama dying, but that was, more news for me. I was never a fan of Rooster Teeth, so I don't know. That was a big deal. Vladimir Dragunov.
I was mainly a fan of the original Dragon Ball series.
Yeah. What does it... Well, with Toriyama, people are saying he's not a big deal. It's like, he influenced so much. And it's not just Dragon Ball. It was Dragon Quest. You guys don't know how big Dragon Quest is in Japan? My brother's there right now. He went on his yearly vacation in Japan.
The game has over 10 installments.
It is bigger. It was bigger and still is bigger than Final Fantasy. And it has... think of Mario. Like, that's how big it is. It's just that.
And its
level.
monster design. Its monster designs were often copied into other games.
It is so influential. Plus, he did Chrono Trigger, one of my favorite games of all time, which, his influence was just purely artistic. Just designing the characters. Yeah. Some of
the characters in Chrono Trigger were redesigns from his own, like Arale, and redesigns from the Secret of Mana main card.
Yeah. It was heavily inspired by Mana and the Mana people, which then later on went to inspire Xenogears and all the other things that Squaresoft did.
Yeah, which is why I initially, as a kid, didn't want to play Chrono Trigger, because it looked to me like, why'd you change it? I like that. And but yeah, especially after this now, I feel reinvigorated to give this greatly written story the time it deserves.
Yeah.
Just in memory of him. Because, man, it is a good game. It's just a child in me that didn't want to play it for dumb reasons.
I played the first 4 on NES, and then I tried to find them as it went by, but there was one I really liked. It was the Divine Wife, or the Divine... It's the one where you get married, and you choose which woman you marry, and then you play the game as your children. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. And I always ended up marrying the woman who treats you poorly, and she's like such a prissy princess. She's like everything. All the other girls are nice to you, but no, this crazy angry girl. That was hilarious. Anyway, last super chat. Vladimir Dragunov again. He looks like a sweet baby Ink defender. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'll check his other videos. I don't think he's made anything yet, but I would not be surprised. Anyway. We're never going to cover him again. Such a vapid fellow. No reason to talk to him. No reason to leave a comment. No reason to leave him a Twitter message. Worthless. Please go run around the block, do some exercises, invest in complete proteins, fish, chicken, beef, whatever you like. Get some nutrition into you, because after that, you must feel completely wasted. And you'll need to pick me up, get some water going. I don't know, whatever your favorite exercise, pull-ups, chin-ups, crunches, anything to get your heart going after that dismal, lifeless, I wouldn't say soulless, but he's got to have some semblance of a soul to want to do that. So he had some passion in his body to sit down for 20 minutes or try to sit down for 20 minutes. But his brain wasn't there, unfortunately. Anyway, that is the last we will ever see. And hopefully we'll ever remember him. We'll never remember what he said, because I
will have forgotten him by next week. because and what he said, because he didn't even say anything.
Yeah, and I'm sure there were criticisms of EFAP, but no, nothing came out.
None that had any worth.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So, what a waste. Anyway, hopefully your weekend is not a waste. Go do something creative. Take a nap, whatever you need to recharge your batteries after that slop we just watched. So.
Well, I'm on the way to eat some steak, so see y'all.
All right, great idea. That's the best response I could hear. Have yourself a good one. Good night.
Good night, everyone.